design is too important to be left to the designer. That's um, uh, the Tim Brown's beautiful statement that got us at the reason and the genesis of design thinking. So design sense is important because design sense relies on the craft of design. It also in the aptitude of designers of seeing the world and the attitude of how they go about it. So I'm quoting Tim Brown again, and I'm a big fan of this particular quote that he shared. He said, designers have a role to play and a very responsible role to play. They imagine a world that does not exist yet, and then they go about creating that world. So you have a world in your mind much before anybody else has even thought about it. You've created that world. So when you're created that world, when you are creating that world in your mind, when you have it in your mind, you also have a responsibility. Therefore, it's heightened responsibility to bring it into the world in a way that is relevant, right, and trustworthy. That creates meaning for people. So that is the way one has to look at it. So it's not just the UX teams, but the UX teams, the design teams, the user experience design teams, their biggest role today has moved away from just designing screens to actually facilitate great design. So they're facilitators of great design. So what is meant by facilitation? It's about getting the right kind of people together. It's getting the right kind of resources together, and being ahead all the time to see what's out there in the world. So that's really the role that they play. They're facilitators of great design, and that is why design sense is important today in terms of providing that particular meaning and sticking to it. They got to have an eye on business. They got to have an eye on what is the technology that we're going to use. They got to have an eye on the society, and of course they're advocates of the users all the time. So there are multiple things that come in and play a role today, and therefore the designer's role has moved on from just being able to design really, really good quality screens to actually being a facilitator of great design that is put out into the world. So your role is now begins much earlier than it was before and ends much later than what it was.